Hello, I'm Justin Trellinger from EIL Ecuador, and thank you for watching the second video of this series, Listening and Reading, Planning for Student Understanding. As you know, this is a series about planning receptive skills classes in a way that's intended to support student understanding. So in this video, what I would like us to talk about is this concept of input. So input, as you know, as a teacher, is something that we talk about a lot. And the first thing I wanted to point out is that input by itself is not really what we want to be dealing with. But it's important that we always have this idea of comprehensible input in mind. So, what is input? To answer that question, I'm going to be relying a lot on the work of this man. His name is Stephen Krashen, a famous linguist, language educator, teacher educator, and philosopher. And the work and the ideas that I'll be referring to today mostly come from his very famous book, Second Language Acquisition and Second Language Learning, and an article he wrote a few years later called The Input Hypothesis: Issues and Implications. So, what is the input hypothesis? It's simply this idea that students progress in their knowledge and abilities with a second language when they understand input or comprehend input that is slightly above their current level. So, one of the first ideas that I want you to take out of this video is that to make it worthwhile, input needs to be comprehensible. It should not be too difficult, but equally it should not be too easy. If it's so difficult that students can't understand it, then there's no benefit. If it is so easy that they understand material easily the first time they see it, then it's not an area for growth. Krashen described this level in his early work as level I+1, which simply means above the student's current level, but not too far above. So this idea that input needs to be comprehensible and not too difficult, but not too easy, is one we want to take from this. Another one is that input requires active comprehension. It's not a passive learning process, and it works very best when students have a reason to comprehend or the topic is interesting to them. Another way to put that is that if the students are paying attention because they want to pay attention, that's when input can be most useful. It's not enough, it is not sufficient for input to be present. It has to be understood for it to be effective or useful. If students aren't actively working to understand, then input isn't effective. And one idea I think we need to be clear on is that input is not just language in the environment or background noise in English. It's not enough that there's English there. They have to be listening to it and comprehending or working to comprehend. Another thing that's always complicated when we're talking about teaching reading or teaching listening is that comprehension is often invisible. So if we want to know what our students comprehend, then they have to do something with that comprehension. And this is the reason why student-centered activities are very, very important for showing comprehension. If they don't understand, or if they don't do anything with their understanding, we can't see whether or not they understand. So student-centered activities that show their involvement and show their comprehension of the material are very, very, very important. And then I just want to finish up with a little summary from Stephen Krashen when he says that the best methods are therefore those that supply comprehensible input in low anxiety situations containing messages that students really want to hear. These are just a few tips based on this idea of comprehensible input, and we will explore them further, and we will explore ways to provide that input in the upcoming videos. So thank you for taking the time to watch this one, and see you in the next video.